So we've had a bye date on Sunday, and sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not so good. I kind of felt like we were playing good, and I hated to have the time off. I'm sure the kids would disagree, and we're glad to have Sunday off. But we've got back after it, and getting ready for a really good LSU team. They've had some tremendous wins this year, and obviously coming off of a great win at Texas A&M when they were ranked in the top 10. So they'll, I'm sure, be ready to play here. We had a couple of knockdown dragouts with them a year ago, played really well down there in the first quarter, got out to a big lead, and then really played even after that. And here we had a 10-point game at halftime, had a great third quarter, and so we've got to be ready. I think our kids have done a good job the last couple days, and we need to have one more good day to get ready for them. And Nikki will have her kids ready to play, I'm sure, and a lot of respect for her and her program. And they have a tremendous system and philosophy. It's been very successful to her and to them over the years, and we'll have to be ready for that.
All right, if you'll raise your hand and take questions, we'll go Robbie and then Tyler.
Vic, I was looking at some numbers, and Rakia's scoring output has kind of gone up consistently with her rebounding numbers as well. What have you seen from her in terms of getting more involved in the game and in both of those areas?
Yeah, I just think she's getting more and more comfortable playing harder longer, and so I just think she's getting more comfortable with the college game and in our system, really more than anything. I think her teammates, she'd tell you, her teammates have put her in a position to be successful. At the same time, I think her energy going to the boards and rebounding has been a big factor for us, her and Chloe adding to our total, because people are focusing on Jessica, and Jessica's numbers have come down. And we've got to get her back up to that 10, 11 range a game where she's rebounding like she was earlier in the year. But it's just all energy, and I think that's the one thing that Rakia's been able to bring both offensively and defensively. Shooting the ball really well, making good decisions, not settling, attacking, getting to the free throw line. And, she's hard to deal with because of her size and length.
Zaria, your minutes have come up this year. I think you're averaging close to 15 minutes a game, one of the top minutes off the bench. Coach seems to have a lot of confidence in you. What are some things that you felt like you needed to improve on to get those type of minutes? And, what are some things that you feel like you need to improve on even more to get even more minutes?
I think the biggest thing is last year I wasn't ready to play as much. Just being behind like Jazz and Ariel and Joe, just being a freshman, I was kind of nervous and scared. But this year, I definitely know I had to step up, being that we don't have them seniors that we have this year. So I had to definitely work harder in the summertime. I got prepared in Italy, and this year just working in individuals with Coach Schaefer. So I knew I just had to protect the ball because I had a lot of turnovers last year. So just protecting the ball and working on my shot and just being more comfortable.
My coach talks about getting Jessica more involved again. You as the point guard, can you be a little bit too deliberate with that? Do you have to do it in the flow of the offense, or is it a situation where you want to really go down and kind of call her number and get her more involved?
I feel like Jess is a great player. She's not attacking more, but she's more physical. She's been more physical. She's been getting more rebounds. I feel like that when Jess is ready to play, there's no stopping Jess. And I feel like that just the same as the guards can get their shots, Jess could get, quote-unquote, her shots. I feel like that she's improved her jump shot as well on the in the corner and at the top of the key. So I just feel like when we do dribble drive, and I need to draw her man so I can give her the ball. But when Jess posts up and we give her the ball, she's going to make the decisions with it. She's going to be physical. She's going to untuck her hips or whatever. How's that? Unlock her hips. Sorry, not untuck. Unlock her hips. And score the basketball. But she's doing really well. She's actually right now she's out there working on her game and getting up extra shots. So she's going to continue to work. She's going to continue to be aggressive, and she's going to continue to get coached hard, and she's going to continue to take it and, like I said, just work hard.
Zaria, with those minutes going up, obviously you've come on strong, at least in the scoring column, the last kind of week or two. What do you attest that to? Is it just a matter of seeing some shots fall, or is it anything you chalk it up to?
Coach Schaefer has been big on us of getting shots up while we're on our off days. Just like he said, he doesn't like giving us off days, but we have to take that to our advantage and get shots up. So definitely just getting in the gym more and getting shots up and being more comfortable with my shot.
How much more confidence is that you need to?
A lot, yeah, a lot of confidence.
Vic, you mentioned Nikki. There's been some up and down with LSU basketball in your tenure at Mississippi State, but they're up again now. What do you see from them? What are they doing well?
You know, they're just so committed to pick and roll basketball, and you know, they're really physical, Steve. I tell you, their 4-5 are as physical as anybody in our league, and had the privilege to work with Ayanna this summer in USA basketball, and just so impressed with that kid. And you know, when you see it up close and day after day after day, it just really, and I already knew, you know, having to deal with her for the last few years, I already knew what she was capable of. But then to see her up close every day at USA basketball just gives you a further appreciation and respect for that kid. And she's a great kid. And, you know, they're doing some really good things. They've had some great wins. And, you know, Nikki's got them playing at a high level. So they're really committed to their way they do things, and they do it extremely well.
Any other questions for players? Okay.
Maya, Jordan's played pretty well here in the last couple weeks, and Vic has said at times that she's like a second point guard on the floor. What has she done for you in kind of alleviating some of that pressure of being the team's point guard, and how would you assess how she's played in the backcourt with you recently?
One thing about Jordan, she's going to definitely give me my props when I'm doing good, but she's going to let me know when I'm messing up and doing wrong. And for that, I'm forever grateful. She's a second voice on the floor. With her being a senior and being a leader on this team, I feel like that when she says something, that everybody's engaged, everybody's listening, because if Jordan says something, then you know, you need to listen. She's more than likely right. But she gives energy when Jordan's in the game and into the game, just energized. It makes it fun. It just makes it easier, and everybody just seems to follow her. And I feel like with that, and with her being on the senior, she's taking that responsibility and knowing that that's her role at many times on the floor. We have so many young kids, and like I said, it's only my second year playing, even though it's my third year here. And sometimes I need help, and I'm okay with that. And I go to Jordan for that help, and she's always willing to help me, and just being that second voice for me and for Coach Schaefer. So I'm very glad she's back. She's putting up tremendous numbers. She's playing really, really well. And when Jordan's engaged, she's hard to stop. So I just love playing with her and the energy she gives to this team.
Sorry, I came in. I heard the word confidence as you was giving an answer. Just talk about, and you may be repeating yourself here, but just talk about your role on the team and how much you're getting more comfortable with what you're doing out there on the court for this team.
My role in the team. I think I have a pretty broad role in the team as far as not only helping score the ball, but as far as defensively as well. A lot of time, Coach Schaefer would like to put me on the other team's best offensive player. So I think this year I've taken that role, just like seeing how Jazz played defense last year and see how Jordan's playing defense this year, and just basically learning from them. And, you know, my teammates are encouraging me in practice just to stay out there on the floor and just keep going after it, keep attacking. And like if I mess up, they tell me to go back on the court, you know, and keep working on it. So my teammates definitely help me, and they help me with the confidence that I need.
Vic, I saw that Johnny Harris is being recognized at an African American history banquet in West Point next month, and then she's going to be recognized at the Final Four too by the WBCA. What's it mean to have someone on your staff like that who's kind of, you know, being a pioneer in for women in college basketball and coaching, and just how has she helped you along this ride? Yeah,
she's you know, being honored in Columbus as somebody that's impacted our community, and no question, she's certainly done that. She's impacted our community. She's impacted our program, our team. She's impacted me both personally and professionally. And you know, there's a lot of times you can walk by her office and she's mentoring 3 or 4 assistant coaches from across the country in some type of video on her computer, and just talking to them about the progression of being an assistant coach and what that looks like. You know, assistant coaches, young kid, you know, young coaches, they want to get into the profession and they immediately want the Rolls Royce to drive as their complimentary car, and they want to live in the big 2-story house, and they don't realize that. I remember telling an assistant back when I was an assistant, look, that didn't happen for me for 30 years, you know, and I was broke when I decided to get the 2-story house. But, you know, she's just such a tremendous role model, and we're lucky, obviously, in this community to have her. She is being recognized at the WBCA again. She's been the National Assistant Coach of the Year, and she's being recognized again in a step up. And so, you know, again, I'm smart enough to know I can't do it by myself. I happen to have the best staff in the country, in my opinion. You know, Deanna was recognized at Christmas at a top 100 banquet in St. Louis for someone that's impacted that community and that city. And so, again, I think what that shows is we as a staff, those, you know, my staff, Elena, they do so much more than just the X's and O's. They're so much more than just the strategy. They're obviously really good at that, but what they bring to the table is really it's hard to find. And, you know, I have to hold on to those assistants every year. People come trying to take them every year. And we've been fortunate enough to be able to hang on to them. They're going to be great head coaches. And they take so much off of my plate. And, you know, again, just really blessed to have them.
We'll excuse the players real fast so they can finish getting ready for practice, and then we'll finish off.
Thank you.
Good job.
We'll go Robbie and then Ben.
Vic, even last year you were commenting on Zaria and just, you know, how athletic she was and how much you felt like she was going to be a presence on this team and this program moving forward. Where do you feel like she is at this point, and how difficult has she made it to keep her on the bench?
Well, she's worked her way onto, you know, being a big minute player coming off the bench. She's versatile, and then I can play her at 2, 3, and 4. It helps when she's making shots because I think that gives her a lot of energy on defense. She is long and athletic, and so she can do a lot of things because of her size. In our offense, she can do what Victoria did, and as long as she doesn't have an issue guarding the other team's 4-player, that's usually. But when I have Rakia and/or Chloe on the floor with her, you can usually do some maneuvering there, and somebody can guard the 3 and somebody can guard the 4. So she does allow us to have some versatility, and again, she's been playing extremely well and not turning the ball over. That's been my biggest pet peeve with her, is just don't try to do something you're not capable of doing. Just go in there and blend in, and if it's working, don't break it. If it's broken, fix it. And she's versatile, and I think that's been the biggest thing coming out of when we went to Las Vegas, was she really started playing well and has been playing well since. And so we need her to continue to be able to help us and be able to do it in a number of different roles.
Ben and then Tyler.
Vic, you mentioned your assistants a lot. I mean, between Elena, Deanna, and Johnny, they've all been here for a number of years. Elena in 2 stints. But with that, what do you think that continuity does for you all as a program, and how would you kind of characterize the relationship you guys have as a staff, and how much easier does that make it having been together for so many years?
Sure. I mean, the continuity is you can't put a value on that. It's just, you know, you want to be able to hold your staff together in that philosophy and how you do things, because I think it's really important for your players. When you bring in a new staff member, you know, it's new for them. They have to learn to get comfortable. You have to teach them the way we do things, because we're probably a little different than a lot of places, and so I think the continuity piece is really critical to our success. I think that's why we've been as successful as we've been. As far as them, for me personally, I mean, we're family. They don't work for me; they work with me. You know, I value them both professionally and personally. And again, recognize that they've done so much for Mississippi State, our program, my players, my family, for me personally. And, that's how I look at it. I mean, we're family, and I think we treat each other as such, and that's why we have such a great relationship. I tell, if I ever have to hire somebody, and during the interview process, I tell them, look, I can't walk down the hallway and walk by a coach's office door and go, ooh, I wonder what kind of mood they're in today. I mean, I want to have fun. I enjoy coming to the office and having fun and working and getting in the foxhole with people that want to get in with me and working and game planning and dealing with things. I mean, I think that's what we're good at, and that's what when I come to the office and when I walk by their door, they're working. I don't have to micromanage them. They know what it takes. They're true professionals, and I think that's that's a value that's really critical to our success. So, again, as I've told y'all, my players have to walk down my hallway and sign my door every day. Well, what they do on their way to my door, which is at the end of the hall, is they walk by 3 full-time coaches' offices, and their doors are open, and they see them. They hear them, how they're talking on the phone. They see how they're dressed. They see what a pro looks like, not a professional basketball player, but a professional in the workplace. And to me, the role models and the mentors that they provide our student athletes, again, is critical to the success that we have and to the growth of our players. And so they're incredibly valuable to all of us here at Mississippi State.
You mentioned the delegation piece of it, and sort of that you can't be in so many places at once. I mean, in that vein, how much do you use that to kind of help foster and grow your assistant coaches as well as coaching up your players as well? How much are you trying to develop them as coaches as well?
Well, certainly, I think that's my job as a head coach, is to allow my coaches to work and to get them ready for the next step. And I think because I allow them to work, because I give them so many responsibilities, I think that they're all going to be ready, when their time comes. And I think for someone like a Blair right now, in her role as a director of player development, she's so limited in what she can do on the floor and with our student athletes from with basketball perspective. But what she's learning, and so many assistant coaches don't get, she's learning all the other stuff that before she gets to the next step of working with players and coaching and teaching and looking at film and creating scouting reports, she's getting the other stuff that so many assistants don't ever deal with. And then when they become a head coach, they don't know how to do that. Stuff with like academics and community service and just mentoring and talking to young student athletes that may be going through things that she went through as a student athlete, and helping them get through as a student athlete, time management, studies, all those things. And so I think what we, with the positions that we are given here at Mississippi State, and it just allows us to really do some special things. And again, you got to be able to carry you got to be able to do your job. And I think they're all more than capable and more than doing that. And again, that's why they're all going to be great head coaches.
Chloe's had games where she'll make 4 or 5 threes, and then she'll have games where she plays 20-plus minutes and only takes 1 or 2 shots. I know a lot of what she does, is hustle plays and rebounding and stuff like that. But how important would it be, and what would it mean to you guys for her to get consistent and score 10 to 15 points per game?
Well, it'd be big, Tyler. There's nobody on my team that spends more time in the gym than Chloe Bibby. And, I'm really proud of her for her being able to overcome her injury fairly quick and do it at the level that she's done it at. Consistency shooting the ball probably is an issue throughout our team, but for her, she'll go 5 for 7 in the first quarter, like South Florida, and then I don't know if she scored the rest of the night. And so, you know, that's the consistency piece with her. But the one thing she has been consistent at is rebounding. That's why I can't take her off the floor right now. All things being equal, there's probably a couple other kids that shoot it just as well, but they don't rebound it at the rate she does. So, you know, the kid's working at it, and that's what I love. I have confidence in her just because I know she spends time working on it. But it'd be big if we could get her to 13 and 6 a night. I mean, if you knew you were going to get that every night, I mean, you kind of knew with Victoria you were going to get 16, 18 and 6. And so, I mean, I think we're talking about maybe two different players, but at the same time, from a statistical standpoint, I think it'd be really big because I think Rakia's coming into her own. Jessica's solid. She's not quite at the number she was earlier in the year, but I think that has a lot to do with the competition. Again, I think Joe's been that level, consistent player all year long, and we've got to continue to get that from him.
Vic, with LSU tomorrow, and then obviously South Carolina on the horizon. You guys have played plenty of big games, but how do you as a coach kind of keep kids from maybe looking ahead to that Monday game? And is it easy with a team like LSU coming in that's as talented as they are?
Well, I hope so. I really haven't thought about it. Somebody mentioned it to me today that, you know, some scenario like that, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I can't. I mean, I don't even know who I'm playing next. I would be really disappointed if we're not focused tomorrow night. And, you know, we've kind of had an extra day of prep, and I would be really disappointed if we're not locked in on LSU. And so, that's on my practice plan today to make sure we're not, but I just don't think with the film that they've already seen of them, I don't think that's an issue for our kids. I think LSU has our undivided attention. I know they do as a staff, and I would be surprised if our kids are looking at anything past tomorrow night.